He had dominated world superbikes with a style unlike anything the premier class had seen in years. But the moment he walked into the Pramac Yamaha garage for the first time, he sensed the shift immediately. The atmosphere was not filled with expectation, but uncertainty. Engineers whispered about the new V4 engine, mechanics exchanged cautious looks, and even the timing monitors seemed to tell him a story he did not want to hear. This new chapter would not begin with a fight for victory. It would begin with a fight just to see his name on the timing screen in a place he could accept. Yet beneath the calm expression he carried, something was tightening inside him, a silent strain that grew with every glance at the screens, every lap that didn't feel like his own, every reminder that MotoGP would not bend to his will the way superbikes once did. He kept telling himself the first year was for learning, but he had never been wired for patience. He could feel the conflict building long before the lights ever went out on his debut. The first laps on the Yamaha V4 revealed truths he already feared. The throttle connection felt unfamiliar, the rear grip behaved unpredictably, and the engine braking, his greatest weapon in superbikes, refused to give him the precision he needed.
Engineers tried to match the rear-heavy balance he depended on, but the Michelin tires pushed back against every instinct he had sharpened over a lifetime. Still, every time he stopped in the garage, he looked straight at the timing monitor. He could not stop himself. It was a habit, a reflex, a part of his identity. But each time, the numbers reinforced the same reality. Adapting to MotoGP would test him more deeply than any championship battle he had ever faced. He told himself to ignore it, to focus on his work, yet the weight of those screens followed him everywhere. Media headlines soon began drawing comparisons he never asked for. Nicolo Bulega, his former WSBK rival, had stepped into MotoGP unexpectedly, replacing an injured Marc Marquez for the final rounds of 2025. Given only one test before the race weekend, Bulega finished 15th, twice. It was a respectable result, but it created a narrative that would quietly shadow Toprak's journey. If Bulega could do it with almost no preparation, why shouldn't Toprak match that immediately? He felt that question hovering around him during interviews, debriefs, and even in the subtle comments from rival teams. He respected Bulega, admired his ability to adapt under pressure, but he knew comparisons could be as unforgiving as any corner on the track. The irony was that Valentino Rossi himself had encouraged Bulega to jump into the opportunity with no hesitation. The story spread through the paddock, and sometimes, half-jokingly, Yamaha engineers used Rossi's comment as motivation. Just race, they would say. But for Toprak, racing was not the issue. The issue was racing below his standards. Inside the Yamaha structure, a quiet divide was forming. Fabio Quartararo, once a world champion, felt increasingly frustrated by the lack of progress. Toprak, on the other hand, approached the project with curiosity and determination, believing the V4 concept could eventually rescue Yamaha from years of stagnation. Two different mindsets created two different energies in the garage. Fabio wanted immediate results. Toprak wanted complete understanding. Their crews mirrored their emotions, creating micro-tensions that Yamaha tried to ignore. But during long runs, one problem became impossible to overlook. The new engine braking maps were inconsistent, and that inconsistency cut straight into the heart of Toprak's riding identity. He needed the rear of the bike to speak clearly, to tell him everything, to give him control over the chaos of braking zones. But the V4 answered in a new language, one he did not yet understand. When the season finally began, the strain built faster than he expected. The real challenge was not the speed of the leaders, but the unpredictability of his own bike. On hot circuits, the rear grip collapsed earlier than expected, forcing him to ride defensively. Instinct told him to push harder, to chase, to claw back what he felt was slipping away. But every extra effort punished the tire and amplified the problems. He knew it, his crew knew it, yet knowing did not stop the frustration growing inside him. To the outside world, 15th place was acceptable for someone in his debut season on a developing machine. To Toprak, it felt like a verdict on his very identity. Social media only heightened the pressure. Some fans accused Yamaha of wasting a champion. Others argued that Toprak would never adapt.
Rumors circulated about disagreements in the garage, about his riding style not fitting the bike, about whether Yamaha might shift development more toward Quartararo. None of it was confirmed, but rumors have their own power, and he felt their weight. He had come to MotoGP to prove something, to himself more than anyone, but the early races forced him to confront doubts he had never allowed inside his mind. Then, in the middle of rising tension, something unexpected appeared in the data. His extreme braking inputs, the very thing some doubted would translate to MotoGP, revealed a limitation in the V4's rear stability that Yamaha had not previously seen. Engineers realized the bike was operating within boundaries that needed to be pushed further. Toprak's riding forced those boundaries open, and suddenly, mid-season updates began shifting the bike's behavior in ways no simulation had predicted. Fabio, too, benefited from the changes. His corner entry regained sharpness, his confidence improved, and the dialogue between the two riders transformed. Instead of representing opposing philosophies, they began pushing Yamaha in the same direction. The dynamic inside the garage settled into something more cohesive, and Toprak felt a small but significant shift. For the first time, he sensed that Yamaha saw him not as a temporary experiment, but as a crucial part of their future. This quiet breakthrough lifted something inside him. He no longer looked at the timing screens with dread. Instead, he saw potential. Flashes of the rider he had always been, buried beneath months of adaptation. He understood now that MotoGP was not testing his talent, it was testing his resilience. Race by race, he felt the connection with the bike improve. He began attacking braking zones more confidently. He started finding moments of rhythm that reminded him of the dominance he once carried. He still faced setbacks, but the setbacks no longer defined him. They shaped him. And as Yamaha prepared its ambitious 2027 package, a machine influenced by new aero regulations, improved electronics, and even the shift toward Pirelli tires, Toprak sensed a future forming around him. Even Ducati began observing him with curiosity, noting the role he played in Yamaha's revival. Meanwhile, Bulega's own potential move to MotoGP for 2027 created a new narrative, the rivalry reborn on the sport's biggest stage. Toprak did not fear that storyline. In truth, he welcomed it. After a season filled with challenges that tested him more deeply than any championship battle, he understood something essential about himself. He was not defined by how quickly he adapted. He was defined by the depth of his commitment to rise through adversity. And while many believed 2026 would break him, they would soon learn the truth. This was not the year that softened his edge. It was the year that sharpened it. Because even as the world questioned whether he could climb from the lower midfield, Toprak was quietly preparing for the moment he could show what he had become. His impact on MotoGP was only beginning, and the storm he walked into was slowly becoming the foundation of everything he would build next.